Hey, I've got really good news for you today. There is a way to stop keeping score. Have you been wronged? Have you been hurt? Have you been in some way the victim of somebody else's bad decisions and injustice? I'm not minimizing the pain. I'm saying it doesn't have to own you, define you. It doesn't have to undo you. It doesn't have to determine your future. And you certainly don't have to live out your life keeping score, living as a victim, and just perpetually stuck in your victimhood. We're going to get to that. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Growing in the Gospel YouTube channel. I'm Cary. I'm a growing follower of Jesus Christ. I get the privilege of pastoring a wonderful church family at Emmanuel Baptist Church of Newington, Connecticut. My best friend, I'm married to her. Her name is Dana. We've been married almost 34 years. We have 3 grown children, 4 grandkids. And I love Jesus. I love his truth. I love his word. And I love being able to open the word of God and make sense of the confusion and the chaos of the world around us. I love how the word of God is really the truth that holds our hearts together when we lose perspective on everything else. So you've come to a good place. If you are new to growing in the gospel, I hope you'll stick around and take the journey with us. God is shaping not only friends and family as a part of this channel from my own church and world, but friends from all over the place. And we're so glad that you are a part of the family of Growing in the Gospel. We're in Psalm 82, and we're going to press in a little further today. What we do on this channel right now, among other things, is at least 15 minutes a day we slow walk through the Psalms. And we're getting rich theological foundation, doctrinal foundation, a strong footing of truth. We're getting real practical applications for our lives today that help to shape us, help us understand how to think through the lens, through the grid of God's ultimate reality. And so this is a rich psalm. It's full of hope. We've already spent 3 days, and we only got to verse 2, just setting up the context and the big value of judgment and justice that this psalm unfolds. I was thinking about this throughout the evening and early this morning, that I'm unfolding this really in 2 ways in my own mind. The first is future tense, and the second is present tense. And why do I do that? Well, because the verse 1 opens, God is standing. It's present tense, okay? And I get the sense that there is a very present reality to this, that God is standing in the congregation of the mighty. He is standing among the leaders of the world. And you say, well, if he is, then is he guiding them? What is he doing? He is taking score. He's keeping score. He is witnessing injustice. He's witnessing the godlessness. You say, why isn't he intervening? Well, he has and he will, okay? And that's what this psalm is about. He promises to intervene. You might be thinking of this more on a personal level than a global level. Why didn't God intervene in my situation? Why hasn't God, if he's witnessing the injustices of the world, if he's keeping score, what's happening? And the answer to that word is mercy, but I'll come back to that. But let's find the hope in what God says about where we are right now. God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. We unpacked that yesterday, the Elohim. They are the human leaders that are delegated temporary authority on planet Earth. Presidents, princes, kings, prime ministers, conquerors, heroes, villains, throughout all the ages of history. And that's why I say there's this future sense to this, because there is a sense in which there will be a final ultimate accounting where God stands and presides over the courtroom of the universe and calls all of these who have been godless or ungodly leaders and oppressors throughout history. And on one hand, we think globally and historically, and people like Adolf Hitler, for instance. But then on the other hand, we draw up closer and we get real personal with the scriptures, and we think of maybe someone that's wronged us, someone that's wronged you. And maybe there's been egregious or criminal or tragic abuse unfolding in your life. Maybe it's more just workplace injustice in politics or some other situation where you just know you've been wronged. Let's just be honest. Like when you're wronged, when I'm wronged, it's raw and it hurts and it bothers us. And yeah, there's maybe a range of things, and there's a spectrum of pain and hurt and outcomes. But whether it's small in someone's eyes or big in someone's eyes, let's just be honest that when we're the recipients of injustice, it's always painful, and there's always some deep longing to correct the record. And the temptation is to keep score. The temptation is to stay awake at night, let it rob your sleep, and let it rob your appetite. It can literally make you sick to your stomach. It can kind of consume you, and if you let that happen, then bitterness kind of takes root. That lack of forgiveness, that being consumed with it, and that thing that was done to you becomes almost like a toxin. It's not a physical toxin, although it has physical implications. It's more of a spiritual toxin that begins like a cancer to eat away at you. And so think about this, friend. It's tragic because it doubles or triples the injustice. So now you've not only been wronged, but now that wrong is a living thing inside of you, and it is eating you alive like a cancer, and it's consuming you, and then it begins to come out of you. It sours your attitude. It makes your perspective on life scornful and spiteful and hateful and cynical, and you become this just seething thing, and you begin to breathe that on everybody around you, and suddenly everybody's like, what is your issue? And it all traces back to maybe one series or set of injustices that was done to you that's now clouding your whole life, consuming your whole psyche, and it becomes a directional force. You begin to seek vengeance or seek revenge, or you begin to want to hit back, return hurt. Hurting people hurt people. And so if you can't hurt the person that hurt you, but you begin to hurt other people, it's just a really bad road. And there's a much better road if you've received injustice. And the psalmist is going to teach us this, that you don't have to keep score. You don't have to live in pain. You don't have to live looking for vengeance, looking for justice. You can let God keep score because God stands and witnesses these things. And he is not going to be inactive. He's not inactive, and he won't be inactive forever. He is on a very deliberate timeline. Let's keep reading. So how long does God stands in the congregation of the mighty? He judges among the gods. And by the way, verse 2, God's asking the same question that we want to ask him. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? How long will the judges of the earth, the rulers of the earth, the systems, the man-made systems of justice that are unjust, that are corrupt, that are wicked, that are allowing slavery and bondage and oppression and victimization, the systems that oppress you. How long? God looks at those systems with you. We want to ask God how long before you intervene, but God steps in and asks the system, how long are you going to go on in this injustice? How long are you going to proceed? And then there's this word Selah. Stop and think about it, which is what we've done for 3 days. And now we press into verse 3. And I don't know about you, but already I have this great hope that if I've been the victim of injustice, and I'm asking God, how long before you bring justice, I'm comforted in the fact that God is sort of standing next to me, looking at the system, looking at the perpetrator of injustice, saying, I've got you in my sights. I'm watching. I'm keeping score. I am aware that you are judging unjustly and that you are accepting wickedness. I'm aware of your injustices. Boy, that already gives me great hope. The word Selah is a musical term. It means rest. It was probably a key change or a transition in the music, but poetically and theologically, it kind of means step back and meditate on what you've just talked about, which we've done for 2 days. So now God is speaking to the judges, to the rulers, to those who have been delegated leadership and authority on planet Earth. Defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and to the needy. Now, this is dense, this is wonderful, this is declarative, this is something that will help us today. The heart of God declares to the human leaders, the human authorities, My mandate for you is to defend the poor and the fatherless, to do justice, to do what is right, to rule justly, to not show favor to wickedness, to not show favor to money and to power, but do justice. Justice should be blind, right? Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Verse 4, deliver the poor and the needy and rid them out of the hand of the wicked. So we're going to pause at the end of verse 4, but I want you to just process this for a minute. God steps in to human structures and says, here's how I want my power executed, my authority delegated and executed on planet Earth. I want the poor defended. I want the fatherless defended. I want justice done for those that have been afflicted or oppressed or hurt. I want those that are in need to have their needs met. I want them delivered. I want the poor and the needy delivered, and I want them brought out, redeemed, or rid them, he says, is the word in this version of the Bible. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain what is right. Uphold what is right. Help those that have been afflicted or destitute. Rescue, that's what rid means. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. Now, friend, there is immense hope in this. Why? Because God has delivered his mandate for those that are in leadership. You say, well, I was influenced by someone in authority that didn't give me this. Okay, that didn't give me this. Well, the good news is God is keeping score. And when you have been the recipient of an unjust system or structure, whether that's at work, at home, in your childhood, in your past, in your present, wherever that might be, in your church, in your school, if you've been the victim, God is keeping score. And he's going to write the record. He stands beside you, and he will be your defender. So there's, let's see here. We're 5 verses in. No, we're up to verse 4. There's 5, 6, 7. There's 8 verses here. I think I said 6 the other day. There's 8 verses here. So we're going to press into this a little more tomorrow. I just want you to meditate on this fact, my friend. Scorekeeping is it's a hard life. Okay. Let me share with you the reality of some things personally. I've been wronged before. I can't say that I've necessarily been abused, but I've definitely been wronged. There's no way to be in ministry 34 years and not have been the recipient of slander, unjust things, unjust treatment, false accusations. There's no way to walk faithfully with Jesus. Jesus said the world would hate you, the world will persecute you. Injustice is kind of embedded into the planet, the fallen state of things. And if you let injustice consume you and define you, first of all, that's not who you are if you know Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, then he's the answer, okay? I said a little while ago, why is God not really taking action to implement ultimate and final justice? Because if he did, he would have to destroy a lot of people that he wants to save. And maybe you're one of them. You say, well, I'm not unjust. I'm just the victim of injustice. No, you're both. Okay, we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. And so the reason that God is not stepping in with final judgment right now is because that flaming judgment is final. And he is now, right now, his heart is to extend mercy and grace to those that will receive it. And there are many people all around the planet that are receiving it every day. And maybe you're one of them today. Maybe you're one that needs to step back and go, wait a minute, I'm not just a victim. I'm guilty as well. I've committed sin, and I don't just need vengeance. I need forgiveness. I need mercy. And my friend, right now, you could bow your head and heart, and you can invite Jesus, who died for you and rose again, to come into your life and to cleanse you of sin and to give you his grace and mercy rather than his judgment. And when you place faith in Jesus, judgment passes from you to him, and justification passes from him to you, and you are forgiven forever in the eyes of God. You're exonerated in the courtroom of the universe, innocent in the eyes of God. And then You can live out of forgiveness instead of living out of victimhood. You can live out of the fact that God has justified you and calls you his adopted, born-again child, and you are loved by the heart of heaven. Instead of being defined by what's been done wrong to you, you can be redefined by what's been done right for you, by Jesus, by the one who's going to ultimately make it right. And then you can rest. You can rest first in the fact that you're defined by the God of heaven who died for you, and you're loved more infinitely than you can imagine. But then you can move forward resting in this idea of justice and vengeance because you know that the God of heaven is your Father. And he is keeping score, and one day he's going to write the record. But you know what the grace of God does in your heart? It does something even more amazing and more miraculous in time. And you might not be there yet, but hold on to this thought. In time, he can soften your heart even towards your oppressor. Dare I even say, one day you could look at the one who victimized you, and you might even hope and pray for their salvation. You might even hope and pray for their forgiveness. You might see them through a different lens. I have a friend who recently tragically lost his college-age son. He was killed by a drunk driver. And can't you imagine that heart of loss would struggle with resentment and bitterness and a longing for justice and vengeance if someone took the life of someone you loved? But my friend said to me, as much as I struggle with a desire for justice, there's a different side to me. There's another part of my heart that longs for that man to be saved, to know the grace and the forgiveness of God. So God can set you free from scorekeeping. He can change your heart. He can not only rebirth you into his family and help you live out of who you are in Christ, but you can rest in the fact that he is keeping score. So that is growing in the gospel today. What a wonderful psalm. And how amazing that all of these scriptures tie into the gospel, and the gospel becomes the lens that puts the whole Bible together, makes it all cohesive, makes it all coherent, and helps us to understand literally every single part of it. And that's what we do on Growing in the Gospel. So my friends, I'm praying for you today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing these few moments with me. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.